So do you want to share your screen, Kalpana?
Okay. So, Kat, before proceeding, let me just show you the capacity tracker for.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Yeah, here it is. So we have one holiday on.
You've got a holiday this Thursday. Okay, nice.
And one planned leave from one of our QAs.
Okay, Sarah Vannon, got it.
Based on the availability.
Got it. Okay, thank you. So for the next sprint, we'll look at the priority stories. Now, I've just spoken with Alexandra. I think Kalpana, you and Ola also spoke this morning. My thinking is that we are quite careful about what we take into the sprint, because I think given that we've just really, so we've now got our data model, which is great. And we're refining the designs around that model. And we still have one or two small decisions to make. So I think let's be really careful about what we work on in the current sprint, because I think, and given that Alexandra has just joined us as well, we just need a bit of time to reflect on some of the areas of the data model. So I think Ola and I discussed associating users. That's quite an important area. I've got some stories around it. I think we're pretty close, but I think there are still one or two refinements that we need to make, and Ola and I can work closely on that. So I'd suggest that we don't try to take too much in. We take in the stuff that we're relatively confident with. So that would be my recommendation for today.
Yeah, okay, Kat.
Okay. And Jag, thank you for the designs. I went through those in detail on Friday evening and looked at them against the stories. There are a number of comments on the designs. They're quite minor. There's quite a few of them, but they are, in many cases, quite minor. And again, I think when Ola and I do a bit more refinement work over associating users with levels of the hierarchy, there may be one or two more changes. Jag, how confident do you feel that you're able to keep on top of the changes that we're requesting this week?
Yeah, I've got a space to do that. I'm going to start working through them today. Start looking through your comments. So yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So yeah, we've been marking them up. So hopefully it all should be clear. Great. So there's some stories flagged here, Kalpana, and they were flagged mainly because we needed the designs. We do now have the designs. What Ola and I have discussed is that we should hold off in this sprint on stories which are about associating users with the hierarchy and just focus on building the hierarchy. Ola, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So we can look at create department. And we can look at edit department. We can, if we have capacity, also look at creating and editing programs. They're a bit further down because I didn't think we'd deal with them straight away. But I can do some quick and speedy. We do have designs, and I can do some quick and speedy refinement if we want to take those in as well. But let's sort of see where we are with the top of the backlog.
Okay.
Okay. So I think what we want to do is focus on building the hierarchy, rather than associating users. I think that should be our focus. However, we have some stories above which are sort of have come out of the last sprint, really. So I added some more stories based on our review on Friday. So let's tackle those first, and then we'll get to the ones on hierarchy. So the first one, 531, is validation errors when creating users. So Aditi and I spoke about this last week. So Aditi, hopefully you're happy with the detail in the ticket now?
Yes, Kat.
The only point I added was on the tooltip. So when you click on the field, the tooltip appears, and if it's a desktop view, the tooltip appears to the left. All I would say is, as a user, the fact that that tooltip remains there the whole time I am working within that field makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. So I wondered if we could have the tooltip disappear after, say, 5 seconds. And I've added that detail. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we can do that, Kat.
Great. So that's the only change I've added since we had our discussion last week. So I think we can take this one in. Do we have an estimate? I don't think we do. It's new. So do you guys want to estimate that?
Yeah. Estimation, please, team. Show me enhance. 1 point. Okay. Team goes with 1 point, Kat.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, the next one.
And the next one is actually the same, but from a site admin perspective. However, Ola, you had some thoughts on this. So I've been kind of at the team's request. I've been splitting stories by role. I wouldn't normally do that, to be honest. I'd normally write a story, a function from the perspective of any role. So all of the roles would be in that story, and I might have different scenarios for the different roles. But here I've been splitting. But I know, Ola, you don't feel good about it as a practice.
No, not really. So my recommendation would be that we have one story describing the functionality, and then either precise in the story which roles can do that functionality, or if you would like to have split stories, like to have the new, especially if this is a new functionality, to have it in one story, and then in the second story to have a new role perform that new functionality, that's fine, but let's not duplicate all the acceptance criteria from the very easy reason that if we duplicate all the details and we changed one story, we still need to change the other, and it just overcomplicate things and can make a lot of confusion, I think. So what are your thoughts about it?
Guys, what are your thoughts about that?
Same thing for different purpose. Business site admin and system admin. Can use one story for both.
Two stories because you will not confuse with the role.
Yeah.
At least a tester is able to find it easy. At least for that sake.
Yes.
Because role is a pivotal point over that. So that's
the difference. Only difference is the role.
The role we have testing in both the tickets will be in the vice versa manner.
Yes.
So we have to win two.
So the team would like to have it as two separate, like we have it now, Kat and Ola.
Okay, so my recommendation would be to have a first story, like we have SRW IT3 as a new functionality, right? So let's make this new functionality just for Pearson Super Admin, and then let's enable. Let's make a separate story, a second story, to enable that functionality for another role. But just my point is, let's not repeat all the acceptance criteria, because if any acceptance criteria changes in the first story, we need to update it as well in the second one. And if we don't do that, it will create more confusion, right? So, for example, I had a comment in the first story. Should I now repeat my exact same comment in the second story? It's just,
Yeah. So what I would do is we can continue to split stories by role. but I will use the first story, which will probably always be the highest role, right? So anything that we're introducing for system admin, the highest role in the hierarchy is probably the one I will take first. What I'll do in the second story for the different role is use that to highlight any differences. So I'll include a link to the first story. But if we have any scenarios which are unique to the role in the second story, then I will use a description to detail that. Does that work?
Yes,
Yeah,
Kath.
that works.
Okay. Ola?
Yeah, for me,
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'd rather not do it with this one. Is that okay? Just because I've already written it. So I'll do it from now on, if that's all right. I am pretty sure these are straight duplicates, so I think we're relatively safe.
Okay.
So this is the second role and the validation errors. So it's the same detail. I assume it will probably be another point, right, guys? Or maybe quicker because we already have the functionality. It's just another role.
Yes, Kath.
Let me get this. Actually, we already have the possibility to create a user for both a Pearson system admin and for a site admin, right?
And school report user, yeah.
And this is the same view, right? So if you if you change the validation errors for creating user view for Pearson system admin, I don't really see the work that needs to be done in the second story. Because, well, could you explain it to me?
It's two different model, Vola. That is two different pages here. System admin we are creating in separate model page, and the site admin we are creating in separate page.
We need to.
Admin is different.
We need to.
Yeah, we have separate menu column, menu field for system admin creation, and below manage user we can create a site admin.
Okay, so both stories talk about creating a site admin or score report user. No story says anything about creating system admin. Right?
Is that a question to me?
Sorry.
What is your question, Ola?
So I'm just trying to understand because as I can see...
sorry, can I just, Kalpana, could you just close that screen a minute? I just want to have a look at the... Oh, don't worry, I can jump into the backlog. It's fine. So, okay, system admin can create another system admin. I don't know if this is helping, but I'll say it anyway. A system admin can create another system admin. A system admin can also create a site admin and a score report user. A site admin can create another site admin, and a site admin can also create a score report user. Now, for site admin, they can only do this at certain levels of the hierarchy, which we will need to implement. So this is where we get into associating users with the hierarchy. But if we just take the function of creating a user, what this is trying to do is say, when I'm creating a user, whether I'm a system admin or a site admin, these are the errors I will see if I don't fill the fields correctly.
Okay, so both stories say about creating a site admin or score report user. They do not say anything about creating system admin. So that's why where my question came from.
I suppose we're saying that they are all separate pages, which I think is the point the team are making, rather than the same view. Then we need... okay, so then...
So actually we would need two stories, one for validation errors for creating system admin, right? And a second one for the view of creating a site admin and score report user, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yes. So this one
so
I agree with, but this is not what the stories say.
So this one changes to, so where are we? 5.3. 1.
Pat, are you sharing your screen?
No, I'm not. Sorry, I will share my screen. Okay, so 531. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Becomes, as a Pearson system admin, creating a Pearson system admin. First name, last name, username, password. Yeah, I think they're all pretty standard, whichever user I am creating. I don't talk about role in this story because I don't think we had a question over it.
No, so that's okay because Pearson system admin can be created only by Pearson system admin, so it's only one role.
There's no role. Yeah, there's no role anyway. Okay. So question to Aditi, did we have any, because here I've got first name, last name, username, password. So I'm now thinking about the site admin. So this story, okay, now I'm a little lost. So this story, Pearson system admin, creating Pearson system admin. This one, should this be as a Pearson system admin or a site admin, creating a site admin or score report user?
Yes.
Yep. Aditi, did we need to specify any, because what we're not doing here is we're not redoing the whole story about creating a user, right? Because we've implemented it with this is just a story about the validation errors and confirming what they are. Did we have any questions about the role field that I need to include here?
No, Kat, that validation was already there.
Okay, so that's good. So I'm now going to say as a Pearson system admin or a site admin creating another site admin or score report user. So these should be okay now, I think. Team, are you happy with that? Are you happy with those changes?
Kat, does that mean you're merging 531 and 532 in 532?
Nope. It means that for 531, this is about a system admin creating another system admin. And then we have one about Pearson system admin or a site admin creating a site admin or score report user. So the first one is about creating, 531 is about creating a system admin, and only Pearson system admins can do that. And then 532 is about creating a site admin or score report user. And that can be done by either a Pearson system admin or a site admin.
Okay, Kat.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
We need to get this, yeah, I think we just need to get a few basic principles down about stories and roles and how we want to do this. Because it can get a little confusing. Like, are we splitting according to the role that is doing the creating, or are we splitting according to the roles that I'm impacting? And it's in my head now, it's getting a little confusing. So I think we just need to agree what our principles are. So we can work on that this week.
Okay.
Okay. So 531 and 532 are, I think we've got a point for 531, right? That was the one that you're going to put in, because sorry, I need to refresh my screen, I think. And then it's however you want to estimate 532, right?
Team points, please. Kat,
And I'm going to switch back to your screen now, Kalpana, yeah?
Okay, I'll share my screen now. Story points. Okay. So moving on. 433, I think we need to wait for that, right, Vinod?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's just touch on that for a minute. 433. That's a spike, Ola, that the team did where we're trying to understand why we have certain data missing. So I think this is one of the things that you're going to take a look at this week.
Okay.
When we get so you know how we have some reports stored already? Often the gender field and the country of citizenship field is missing, and we're trying to understand why. Can anybody in the team just briefly update Ola on this? Because Ola's going to be catching up on some of these technical stories this week. Just briefly update Ola on where we are.
Yeah, so we are not getting the gender field in the candidate notifications and the results notifications. So that is the with this.
But is it so that it never comes, or it sometimes comes and sometimes not?
No, it never comes. All
Okay.
of the notifications which have been updated till now, I didn't find any gender except the one
Okay.
test notification which we have in our environment. I did this test in production environment, and we were also able to see that none of the products are getting updated. That's because the VUE appointment ID is not. We are not getting the fulfillment tag. So I believe Ian has sent an email about this as well. I think.
Yeah, I just didn't yet have time to go into that.
So those two are. I mean, I believe if we resolve those two, I mean, if somehow we find a way to bring those tags back in, then we would be able to resolve this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned that they're custom fields. So, but they do have a consistent mapping, I think, in that you might have custom field 1, 2, 3. I think Joe Bina over in View said that the same data is always mapped to the same fields. But it's a bit of a case of just trailing back through what's been discussed so far.
Okay, and did we get some confirmation from Joe that it's actually being sent?
I can also show you the requests which are the SOAP requests which have been sent by Jobina and the team, the VUE team. I was not able to find the fulfillment tag. I also debugged and showed the same issue to Ian. Ian is of the understanding that it is not coming, and he has sent an email as well.
Okay.
And this gender is coming as a part of the extended fields. It comes as date of birth in the extended fields in a candidate notification. So I mean that is the ideal. That is as per the ideal record, as per the ideal request, but it is not coming for us.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on from this one for now.
Okay. So 536.
Yes. So again, let's look at how we've written the stories. So this is something that we didn't enable in the previous story, and I've written a couple of scenarios. One is about editing a site admin to be a score report user, and I think the other one is about editing a score report user to be a site admin, and what should happen. Again, we had some questions on this, so I'm wondering actually if we're able to take this one right now. Ola, I'm sorry to say, I think this is another one that you're looking at. I think this is another one on your list.
I know. Yeah, I started to go through the code today morning, but I just had too little.
So I think, would you agree that we can't take this one right now?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Would you agree that we can't take this one right now because we just need to? Yeah,
yes,
we need to understand
I need to do some
about,
investigation.
Yeah. What the behavior is, right? When we change at back end and front end, when we change a role.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the story. We can do some more refinement on this one when Ola's had a chance to do some investigation. So let's leave this one where it is.
Okay. Just a minute, Kath.
Sorry, Kalpana?
Just a minute, Kath.
Sure.
Would be the best way.
Regarding this 511, we were trying to debug whether Apigee sends any JWT token to the backend, but Apigee is not sending anything. I mean,
Okay.
it is not sending logged in user details.
You are saying about, sorry, you are talking about changing role of a user?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did some I just started doing an investigation really a few minutes before the planning, and I noticed that there are policies for extracting access token, getting user details, and for example, in the score reports endpoint, when a user is searching for a score report, user ID is appended to as a query parameter by Apigee. So we could use like a similar scenario, but I just would need some more investigation. As I say, I just have a few minutes to start checking that.
So here's a question. If we are able to find a way forward on this one, do you think we would be able to put it into the sprint, if not immediately, then this week?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. It just feels like we're quite close. So yeah, while we generally as a practice shouldn't be putting things into the sprint later, I feel like this is one where we might want to make an exception, depending on what you find out.
Fine with me. But
okay. Let's see. Okay. This one, creating and editing a user tooltips. So this is about the fact that the tooltip was appearing to the left, and it should be appearing below. Now, Jag, could you provide, this is a really simple one, I think. Could you provide a design to Aditi, please?
Yeah, I'll have to update that.
Yeah, this honestly can be done quite quickly. I think it's just the positioning of the tooltip, which is key. So I'd like to take this one into the sprint, please.
Okay, Kath. Maybe once we get the designs, we will review it. And then
do we really not know enough to be able to estimate this now? I mean, we know that we want the tooltip to appear below the field rather than to the left, right? I kind of feel like we can estimate this.
Yeah, we'll be able to estimate, I believe. Team, can we estimate? Can you explain him what changes are expected so that we'll come to an agreement on the story points?
One is enough for development. How they will estimate because all the pages, all the things you have to implement all. Because this include all the pages and all the tools and all the error messages.
All the pages. So we can't estimate.
And that includes all the negative the error messages also.
Okay, the team would like to know the design details first, Kath, for estimation, as it involves like multiple page designs.
Okay, so let's just quickly talk about the scope of the story, just so we're clear on the designs that Jag needs to provide.
Okay.
So I believe this is about where the tooltip displays when the user is clicking in the field, or sorry, touching the field on a mobile. Am I right?
Yes.
Is there more to the scope? I just want to make sure that we've captured all the relevant detail and Jag knows exactly what we're doing. Could somebody open the current designs, the mobile designs for this, just so we can have a look at it on screen? Oh.
Just a minute, Kath. Let me refresh it. Tablet. Mobile.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Edit.
Okay.
Which one? Edit user or edit user. Okay, these are
anyone.
Yeah.
You can click.
Anyone.
Okay. Let's have a look. So, Aditi, what you're working on this one, I think. What could you just talk me through the scope of exactly what you need? So, are you clear on is it just the positioning of the tooltip, or is there more needed for this one?
Positioning of the tooltip all over the site, wherever we are editing a user or editing a institution, anywhere edit functionality is there. There we need to change the positioning of this tooltip on mobile view.
Not only edit, add
Okay.
also.
Add also. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the last thing you said?
Not only edit, add
Add
or
user.
edit user, both.
Add or edit user. Okay. So, Jag, for all of those fields, could you just give a?
Yeah, I mean, it is just literally where the tooltip appears, right? It's not. I mean, it's
Yeah.
for.
So actually,
add
if you just indicate, I think for one, then we would use the same.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so, like, what tooltips do you mean? So this is like, for example, for the password.
Yeah. Let me show you an example very quickly.
Yeah.
So
I already tooltip.
I just have it on my screen. So
I should be able to show you.
This is it. This one.
No, that's a validation.
Yeah, that is the tool.
That's tooltip. Just hiding that.
It's kind of appearing on the right hand side.
Yes, can you see my screen? Is it what I am showing?
Yes, Ola.
Okay. So it's for the tooltip for the passwords. Is it something else?
For username, first name, everywhere tooltip will come as a.
Okay. In here, it's on the left, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the thing we need to be careful of is, so the tooltip will hide the text underneath when the user is typing into that field. So that is just something to be mindful of, Jag. I'm not sure we can avoid that, actually, really. I think we just have to assume that the user is working through field by field. Because if the tooltip appears for the first name, then I'm not going to be able to see the text beneath very easily, am I? That's probably just something that we're going to have to live with.
Yeah. What do you think for each field? What's the tooltip saying? Is it just?
Yeah, it really just says like the length of the number of characters. It just gives a tip to the user on how they should complete that field. So it's needed for first name anywhere where there's a length, or there's a restriction on format. So typically it's needed for the names, for username, and for password. It's not needed for drop downs because that's clear, right? It's clear you have an option to choose there. So it's just giving the user a bit of a heads up on how they should, like the number of characters, if there's a minimum number of characters, etc.
Okay.
The other thing is, if we're talking about timed tooltips, Aditi, I'd like to do that here too.
I mean, the 5 seconds, after 5 seconds, that tooltip should go. Okay.
So these are the same tooltips that we took in the stories 531 and 532, right?
It's a mobile-enabled view. Yeah.
Yes, I understand. But
the
like same tooltips are the same. Okay.
Yeah. We just need them to appear differently. Okay. So, Jag, when can you get those designs ready? I'm hoping this is a 5 minutes job.
I'll do that.
You could probably do them on this call, actually.
Actually, good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well, if we really can't estimate this now, then we'll need to move on.
Okay, Kath. It's more. 538.
Okay, so associate site admin with institution. This is written from the point of view of a system admin. Sorry, for clarity, I should be consistent and call that Pearson system admin. And from the perspective on 539 of another site admin. So when I did my QA of the site admin, creating a site admin, we don't yet have the site admin associated with an institution, and it should be. Site admin should not be able to see multiple institutions. A site admin is only associated with one institution. I'd thought that we would do that as part of the create site admin story, but we didn't. There's probably a reason for it. So I've added stories to associate site admin with an institution. Because we're not getting into the hierarchy here, I think it's probably okay to do this story now.
Sorry, may I jump in?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a comment for that, because I think that you're right, Cass. This should have been done in the previous story, in the previous sprint. So I don't think we, like a user needs to specifically associate a site admin with an institution level, because this is what is done in the way how the user is created in the first place. So we are like entering a specific institution and create that user inside that institution.
It's kind of as if I can just share my screen for a minute, and this is confirming what you're saying. It's as it is here. So I'm logged in as a system admin. I select manage users. I open institution X to view the users, and I complete the create user form. I don't select department or program because, we don't have that yet. And also, if I'm just associated at the institution level, I probably shouldn't. And then the site admin is joined to the institution. So it's something that I had thought would be done with the site admin role, yes.
Yeah, so I would suggest to add acceptance criteria from the like what site admin, newly created site admin should see and have access to when they log in. So if I log in as a site admin, I can see only my institution, right? And I can open it, see the users inside those institutions. I cannot see any other institutions. I cannot add users to any other institutions, or I cannot see users in other institutions. So I would just suggest to make the acceptance criteria like from the newly created user's perspective, because this is what is missing, really.
Okay, I can do that. Can I ask the team, how do you feel about that? Guys? Sorry, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. We second Ola's
No problem. Kapana, can't hear you, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we agree with Ola's point, Kath.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to do that after this call. That's not really what I'd expected to do, to be honest. So I'll have to do that after this call. Okay.
Or maybe we could just add acceptance criteria to the story that we are looking at right now, because the first one, this is true, right? We do not.
Oh, sorry. Am I still
so
showing my
maybe we
screen?
can just So maybe we can just update the story that you wrote just by adding this one acceptance criteria that I said.
Okay, that sounds fine. So I still have these split associate site admin with institution levels. Yeah. Okay. So what we're saying, I think, is that we will only have one story, right? Because we don't need this idea of a system admin or a site admin associating a user. That's what we're saying, I think. And we just have the story from the point of view of the site admin. Yep. Right?
Yes.
Yes. So, okay. Okay. So.
Kat, we would like to see 539 also. Just a minute.
Sure. Do you want to have a look at that on your side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll also share the screen.
I'll stop sharing and then you guys can look at it.
Okay. Thanks, Kat. This is the other 539. Okay, to have it as one.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat, we are clear now. We can have one story.
Good. All right. So I'm just quickly writing this. I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay. So I've now got. We don't need this now. As a newly created site admin, I want to log into an institution I am joined to, right? Or I have been created within. So I can perform functions as per my role permissions. So log into institution, given I am logged in as a, actually let's do it like this. Given I have valid created as a site admin when I log in with valid credentials and I have access to functions within my institution. Sorry, spelling. We struggle with the word institution. Right, log into institution, given I've been created as a site admin within an institution. When I log in with valid credentials, then I have access to manage users and search functions within my institution only. Everybody happy with that? It's pretty basic, but that's what we're requesting, I think.
Okay, so I just would like to go through the view, so that I have a clarity on that as well. So when I log in as a site admin, I can also screen share because I'm looking at it right now. So I'm just logged in as a site admin for the first institution, this Poznań demo institution. So what I should see when I click manage users, should I see like institutions list, but what with just my one institution, or should I be kind of, should I see some other screen?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think can you just click on so when I log in, I see the search screen, right?
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
when I log in, this is my first screen. This is what I see. Go to manage users.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you open view users.
For the first institution.
Oh, any institution, Ola, yeah. I believe this is what I would go to first. I believe I'd probably go to a users list. However, we've got to think that if they wanted to, if I was a site admin who had access to a particular department, then I would also need to see that view, right? But we haven't implemented that yet. So I think at this stage, let's just think about institution level. So I log in. I think I'd see the institution.
Because the site admin should also have the possibility to view the details of institution and edit them, right?
Yeah, and also I'm thinking for when that site admin may also have access to creating a department.
Yeah.
So
So
think
it would be within
want...
this, right? Edit institution.
Yeah. So I think this links to Jag's designs on creating a department. I think it makes sense if I go to manage users and I would see one institution in the list, right?
This is something that can be implemented most easily because this doesn't require any changes on front end. This is simply filtering on backend and returning just one institution, the one that user is created in, instead of the whole list of institutions.
So I'm going to say then I see my institution.
In manage users, yes, many. When I click manage users.
Yep. So I'm going to write a second scenario. Let's not worry about search because I don't think we need to specify anything for that. So I think I'm going to write a second scenario, which is, so I've logged in, I have access to manage users, view institution, single institution in manage users view. When I access manage users, then I see my single institution listed as per implemented design, and I can edit this institution if I wish. So then the only thing that we need to decide is, and then if I want to create users, then I do exactly what I do as a system admin. So if I want to add more users, then I click on view users, go in and
so nothing changes here.
Yeah.
So actually for the team, the only thing that would need to be implemented in the story is filtering of institutions when accessed by a site admin, right?
Yes, Ola.
Okay, I'll share my screen now. Just check everyone's happy. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Kat.
Yes, all the time.
Okay, good. There we go. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So can we have an estimate for this one, please? I'll just update the story. And so we've agreed that I will remove 539, yes?
Kat, we will
remove
2 points for 538.
Great stuff. Thank you. Could you add those?
Yeah, I'm updating it. Done, Kat.
Thank you. So 539, I'm going to lose. Great. Just one other thing to say about this particular view. When we did some user testing, we found that when people saw this, what they wanted to do was they wanted to open the institution by clicking on the blue link, not by using this icon here, which is view users. So, Jag, I'm wondering, can we maybe change this so that we don't have this blue link and we actually have an edit icon appearing next to the name? It's the kind of thing that we've been talking about in relation to benchmark 2. And I think for view users, I wonder if that needs to be called something different, because what am I doing here? I'm going, well, I suppose I am going into view users, but it definitely didn't occur to people to click here. So I think we will need an improvement story around that.
Quite correct. Is that little search?
Yeah.
Thing.
I think maybe it needs to be a different icon, to be honest. I think that throws people a bit because it does look like search. So I think we just need a person icon or, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think we have to do that right away. But if you could put together a design. So I think we need an edit icon here. I don't think we should have, it really is that the user really does think that this is where they need to go first. I need to click on this to do anything. So I think let's avoid, if there's an edit function, let's have an edit icon. And here, let's have a person icon. Cool. So I'll add an improvement story for that, but I think we can do that in a forthcoming sprint.
Cool.
Okay, just making a note. Okay, and then we have our stories for creating a department.
Yes.
Am I sharing now, or are you sharing, Kalpana?
You are sharing your screen.
Okay, fine. So this is about adding a department to an institution. And we have some designs. So should we go through the designs?
Yes, Kath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. I'm going to make this bigger. Sorry. I'll go full screen. Is that too small? Better?
It's okay.
Yeah.
F11 will make it full screen.
Okay. So adding a department to an institution. I'm trying to find, we've got one that has more comments on it, I think. Strange. Okay. Okay, fine. So we need the ability to add add a department. So we have this icon here. So if I log in, now as a site admin, I would only see one institution. As a system admin, I will see several, or I'll see as many institutions as have been created. So we have a department icon here. This is the first place to go to create a new department. So so team, just ask questions as we go, okay? It's hard for me to look at this and look at the story at the same time, but in terms of adding a department, this is where I go.
Okay.
Okay. I then go into I'm going to make sure that I've linked up correctly. So icon for viewing list of all department schools was that link that we just saw. Then design for department schools list, which needs to include an empty view because I may not have created any departments yet. So this is this one. Okay, so here's our empty view. Okay. Now, a few things here for JAG. This one. It's really annoying, but the terminology we use is department/school, and it's because we're dealing with global markets. We're not sophisticated enough to have geolocation, so that I see different things depending on which market I'm coming in from. So a department to one market or one country will be a school to another. You know, America, I think in the US, they often refer to campuses as schools. In Europe, they probably call them departments. So we tend to use the terminology department/school. So my note here was that this should say departments and schools, like that. And that's consistent. It's a pain. I would much rather it was one word. But that's what we have. And the same here, right? So a few things, any department, schools, and then this should be add department school, not add institution.
Okay.
Okay. And same here, I think. Yeah, add department school. So we just need to be consistent. Because if we just use one at schools, then I think it's going to throw people. So we're just going to stick with the labeling that we had in the original site. I think we can always change that front end in the future if we want to. Team, any questions on this? So there's some modifications for JAG to make. This gets me back to institutions. If I am a site admin, of course, that's just one institution. If I am a system admin, then it would be multiple. So here is my question. Are we dealing with different, do we have different pages here? Do we have pages for the views for the system admin and views for the site admin? My question to the team.
Different pages for site admin and system admin.
For department institution. No, we don't.
Same page.
No, we don't, Kath.
Okay, so we just have one view. Because that was the point that I got a little confused about earlier. There's just one view, right?
Yes, Kath.
Yeah. Okay. So things like back to institutions would make sense to a site admin, but a system admin, but it wouldn't make sense to a site admin. I'm not sure, Jag, how to get around that. I mean, we could just have
actually, Kat, shouldn't it be back to institution? Okay. So we do not have. Okay, so
that's my point.
There is no link between
admin and the site admin sharing, right?
Yeah.
So we're sort of stuck with this labeling where sometimes it will appear as plural, and that could be confusing. Jack, do you have any suggestions about that?
No. Think about it.
Sorry, Jack, I can't hear you. I don't know if you're talking. Just need it's really quiet. Sorry.
Just having a little think. So from here, we if we go. The problem is if we go back.
Yes, we go back to here. Oh, sorry, here. This is a system admin view, of course, because I'm seeing a view of multiple institutions, right?
Yeah. But then if you're clicking on departments.
Yes, if I click on department and I go, where is it? Back to where I was a minute ago, here.
Yeah. And are there's departments in that specific institution?
Yeah, in a specific institution. So it's a small point, but we can go back. The system admin will see it would make sense to see plural institutions for system admin, but not for a site admin. And unless we did something visual here, you know what I mean, or just had a back.
Or you could say back.
It's hard to know how to get around this.
That's an interesting one.
One thing we could do is just have maybe back to institution list. I don't know if that helps. Back to institution view. I think it's maybe a basic terminology thing.
Okay, but maybe this is a minor detail that can be discussed later because we just have 12 minutes left.
Yeah, I realize that, but I think it's something that, we're trying to confirm the design. So, okay, Jag, maybe we can have a think about what to do here.
Claudia would have a good way, because she's pretty good with the words. Maybe she has a way of kind of like getting the words down in a way that could make sense for both users.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to put a little note here. Yeah. Okay. So
Kath, we have a question from our QA regarding the alignment.
So yes, Kath.
Hi.
Regarding the alignments, if you see, we consider on all the pages. So it will
Guys,
start
I
with
can't hear you. I'm sorry.
The menu was on back to institutions, right? And then the current page, assume the departments, the back to institution should start with the same line below to that border.
In all the pages.
Yeah, in all the pages.
Yeah, sorry, I need to go back to where I was. Sorry.
Maybe I'll share my screen, Kath, and show you what he means.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be great.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Just a minute. Let me open.
I can see ad user.
Okay, let's just take one example page.
So see, the system, the one which is starting, it should be on the same line. It should be consistent with the box. It should start from. It should be straight. It should be a straight line.
Yeah, chord and string system application should be vertically aligned the same line.
I'm not sure what are you asking me about design or functionality? I'm not sure what you're asking.
Yeah, it's just the alignment of the page.
Right. Okay.
Just a section.
So you're saying that you.
Question to Jack.
Yes. Yeah, you're saying it should be aligned with. Text lines. Yeah. I'll look for that one. Yeah, I'll look for an update if we can see those. I can see what you're saying here.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, above the system administrator and below the system administrator, they both are not equal. So, and also, yes.
And also the add system admin button. The space above that button and below the button should be same, and it should be in the same position.
So
Consider Jack.
Yeah, I love if you spot anything like that, just put a comment on Zeppelin because it's very easy for me to just update it. If anything kind of slips through.
we're also going to look at screen resolutions this week as well. So we need to determine that. Okay, so because we have 10 minutes left, we really need to work through the functionality here, guys. Okay. So let me go back to story. I'll share my screen again. Am I sharing?
Yes, Kath.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we've got the icon, we've got the design for department schools list, which includes the empty view. We've got the form for create. Sorry?
Stop
I'm not sharing.
You're not sharing now? Yeah. It's coming up.
Okay, so we've got the form for creating department school. Okay, so there are a few comments for Jag here, mostly to do with labeling. So we need to say which fields are mandatory. Again, we need that consistent terminology. We've got our department type, so we don't need this field, Jag. We don't need to specify department type. Code. Yes, good idea to display institution code there as well. Department name.
Kath, can you provide us the logic to generate this code since it is an auto-generated code, right?
We may need I think I have a separate story for that, for auto-generating department code. Do we need to do this now? I think maybe that's something we can implement as a separate story, that auto-generation of code. I have it as a separate story at the moment.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think at the moment we need to focus on getting the structure of departments in place.
Okay, so for now in this story, user will give the code manually.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, so we could we could just have it as a field for manual input, and then let's sort out the actual auto generation of codes. Okay, but this is a pretty straightforward form. So Jag, I'm going to rely on you to make these changes pretty speedily so that we can take this into the sprint. So that's for adding a department, and then because they're pretty minor changes on that form, really.
Sorry, one more question.
Yep.
Do we need status field here while creating department? Anyways.
Yeah, the status should be active or inactive. Yes, because it might be that you want to make a status inactive. So that's something that we will definitely need in the future. So yes.
Yeah, in that case, while editing only we can display status, right? While creating, do we really need status field?
If you create it, then you would want it to be active, I suppose. That's a good point. So maybe that's just something you see when you edit. Yep, that's fine. I can make sure that that's in the edit story.
Okay.
Okay. And then, yep. So then we have the department's been created. So we then have the list. Yeah, so here's my list of departments, and I see a little note here saying department's been created. So and then to edit, it's here, and it's really about going into that form and being able to update the form, and I'll make sure that active status only appears in the edit view. So we have a collection of stories here based around these designs. So one is, so we have them broken out, but maybe we just need one, right? So we've got 83 and 521. which are both about creating a department, but one is from system admin perspective and one is site admin perspective. So are we saying that we would only need one story here?
Same only.
Yeah.
But based
It's
on
the same, yeah. It's the same functionality. So I can consolidate into one story. And then we have 522, which is editing. And I think for the moment, that's as far as we should go. I think we should just make sure that we have the ability to create a department,
Yes.
view a department, and edit a department. I think that's as far as we should go right now.
Kath, it's fine. We did not able to see mobile design and tablet design for creating.
Yeah, so let's not worry about tablet for now, because I don't think that's a strong use case for us at all. Yes, so as a practice, from now on, Jag, we're going to need mobile designs as well as desktop designs.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I've got those. Because I knew we was going to do some changes, so did the desktop first, but I've got the mobile.
Yep. Okay. And now a question to the team. We will presumably just link to desktop and mobile designs from the same story. Am I right? Or would you have those split as a separate story?
We can have in this story as
well. Yeah, we can make subtask like things, so we can make the same.
Okay. Okay. So these 3 stories are fairly big ones that need to go in. Can we do an estimate for these, please? And that would be desktop and mobile, because Jag, I'm relying on the fact that we should be able to do the mobile ones quite quickly.
I too are combined, right? She wants to know how validation is handled for new departments.
Kat, a doubt about validation. What kind of validation will be implemented if we create a new department or edit a department?
Okay. I think, let's see what detail we have in the story already. Okay, so it will be very, so for fields which fail validation, we've got the same style of errors as for create users. Aditi, would you prefer to see that? Because I think we have a style that we're using, so I'd like to reuse that style. So would you prefer to see that information in the story or in the designs?
I was just asking, like, what should be the validations? Like,
Sure.
how many characters should be there?
That's really quick. Yeah, no problem. That's really quick. So I will add that to the story, yeah?
Yeah.
You're happy to see that in the story? Yeah.
And there's also one question from me. Should department school name be unique within an institution? And should we have this validation implemented as well?
No, I don't think so. There's no reason to do that.
Okay. There's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so question to the team. Are we able to do an estimate for these 3 stories?
For 80.
Which would include work on, so it's 83, 521 and 522. Okay. Bearing in mind that we will also have mobile views.
Kath, we are going with 5 points for 83.
Mm-hmm.
And then 521 is the same, right? So 522.
522 is
edit option.
Edit functionality. 3 at least.
We're going with 3 points for 522, Kath.
Okay. So we've got a total of 8 points there, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So where does that put us, Kalpana, in terms of capacity? Because I think I have a suggestion for this sprint. Where does that put us?
We will have to come up with our own subtask for each of the stories and the hours for each story, so that we will know how much hours has been utilized and how much is remaining, Kath.
Okay. Okay. So let's see how that estimate comes out. And I think that if we have one thing that we could consider doing is having a shorter sprint. So depending, if we may have enough to fill the sprint, but if we don't, then I would suggest that we have a shorter sprint. We get underway with building in this structure. We give Ola a chance to get up to speed with the stories and with the designs. And then we review, well, end of this week or beginning of next week. But let's see where we are. We may have enough for the sprint, but if not, then I suggest that we just make it shorter. How does that sound? I don't think we should take anything else in at the moment.
Okay, Kat, let's come up with our subtask and the hours, and I'll keep you posted.
Okay, sounds good. So what I'm going to do is I've got a number of things that I'm going to power through this morning that we've raised in this particular call. And Jag, I'm going to ask you to get to the designs. Are you able to do that this morning?
Yeah, I'm going straight on to that.
Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, hopefully you have enough for your subtasks, but I will be updating the stories just with some of the details we discussed later this morning. So we should be all ready. And then Kalpana, check in with me on the capacity. Does that sound okay?
Yes, Kat.
Okay. And I think just as a general point, it's flagged a few things to me. So I think I'm getting a stronger sense of how you guys work now and how you want the stories formulated, so I can start to work in that way. I think design readiness is a really key thing here. So this is why I'm wondering if actually having a shorter sprint may help us. But I think, Jag, making sure that we've all had a chance to review the designs on refinement means that when we come around to planning, we can be ready. Yeah. So we just need to plan that one a bit more fully, I think. Would you agree? Because really, we shouldn't be doing this refinement on planning. We should have been doing it last week. But obviously, last week we were talking about the data model. So I think that's just something for us to be mindful of when we have our next refinement. We really need to be ready with designs. Is that okay from your point of view?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's also when designs come up, there's a little bit of a lag where we need to kind of like look at it and have some comments on it. So we need to have those a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ideally, we want to be, we really want to be, I would say, review. So if we make the refinement the point at which we're raising those comments, working through together as a team, and then you have an opportunity. And the other thing is, of course, having mobile designs ready with the desktop designs. I don't think we need to worry about tablet for now because, as I say, I don't think this is a strong use case. Let's just focus on desktop and mobile for now.
Yep.
Okay. Great. So we need to tighten up, but we can do that. So for the time being, let's leave it there. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Kat. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.